Welcome to Roy and Friends Watch a Bad Movie, the show where I, Roy Johnson, bring a special guest along to watch a truly terrible movie with me. Today's guest is my good old friend, Twitch streamer, and former Movie Mumbles co-host, Mr. Womble. And the movie I'm forcing him to watch is the 1988 family picture, Mac and Me. A truly terrible E.T. knockoff that will make you crave the delicious taste of a Big Mac, and wash it down with a refreshing glass of Coca-Cola. With intros out of the way, let's get to the podcast, shall we? Hello everybody, welcome to this brand new podcast I'm doing. This is Roy and Friends Watch a Bad Movie. This is basically the first episode, going through the works here, and basically what I do is I bring a friend along, someone I've known, and I force them basically to watch a bad movie, and then we discuss it and just discuss how bad it is, basically. It's not that hard, it's not a complicated concept. With me today is, for those familiar with me and podcasts, is my good old friend, Mr. Womble. Say hello if you can.
Hello if you can.
Oh,
I couldn't resist. Come on,
that's
so easy.
That was the easy joke to make. So me and Womble have been podcasting for a while. We had a podcast called Movie Mumbles, which is technically still going, but I'm putting it on a hiatus as of now a little bit, just to try some new stuff, and this is one of the new stuff basically. And I just thought this would be a fun idea, just talking about bad movies and such.
It's kind of interesting though, because I think hello, car from outside my window.
You want to be a part of the podcast too?
Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear that.
It's like the minute I started talking.
That car was like, shut the fuck up, Womble.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird though, because I'm sure at some point we were gonna do like bad movies on Movie Mumbles, and then we kind of like had a major burnout and stuff. So it's quite nice to be part of this, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like you were the perfect first guest for this. He's not gonna be here for every week because of like your life and stuff has gotten a lot more complicated, and mine as well. It's like it's been more difficult to do regular recordings than we once did. But I thought,
Absolutely.
But yeah, I thought having you on for the first episode it felt right. We have this natural like rapport and such.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's all scripted.
It's everything's scripted, including that car that just passed by your window.
Yeah, including the car. I paid him to like interrupt me mid-sentence
for that little gag. Yeah. But okay, with enough waffling out of the way, let's talk about the movie that we were supposed to be talking about for this the first bad movie that I'm picking, and it's gonna be this little 1980s piece of corporate sponsorship and E.T. ripping off. It's called Mac and Me. I
don't know why, but I really want to drink a Coca-Cola right now.
Yeah, and get a Big Mac as well.
And get a Big Mac, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, 1980s. It's a blatant E.T. ripoff, and also a blatant commercial for Pepsi. No, not Pepsi.
Not Pepsi. Not Pepsi. It's the other one.
Yeah, the other soda.
Did you watch the movie, Roy?
Sorry, man. It was for Coca-Cola and McDonald's, basically. And also, I noticed they also had stuff for like Skittles and Sears as well, because they were also
Skittles, Sears. There's VW in there, and there's also Cadillac.
Yeah, that thing is just a giant, product integration into the product, because E.T. made like those I don't know, it was a peanut butter cups from Mars bars, I think. I don't know the exact product. It's been a while since I've seen E.T. But that, was part of that movie and became big. So I'm guessing whoever created this movie was like, okay, let's do that, but much more blatant.
So the movie studios that's doing this is MGM, right? So they made it. So it's not like a small movie studios either, right?
Yeah.
When you sent it to me, I was like, oh, I generally thought it was going to be like a weird 80s B movie from an indie. Yeah,
it looks
film,
like it would be.
Sort of thing.
If you looked at the poster, which is like this ridiculous. It's so like. I will talk about the aliens also, because the aliens are like ridiculously ugly. I think, like E.T. is ugly, but like he has like a kind of charm to him. He's appealing even if he's not conventionally attractive. These aliens are just hideous. Like they're so gross looking. They're like naked, wrinkly disgusting creatures, and it's uncomfortable, like, watching them.
But at least they have the technology of the straw.
Yeah, that's...
They don't have anything else on their planet, but they've got straws, so it's all fine.
And apparently they drink from the ground, and apparently whatever liquid's on their planet, like, tastes is Coca-Cola. It tastes like mutant planet juice. That's what they're trying to advertise. That the Coca-Cola tastes like otherworldly juice. That's the thing. Is like they need Coca-Cola to survive in this movie. They have to drink the delicious flavor of Coke to live, basically. And
absolutely. Do you know what? Like, I hated it at the beginning, right? I was just like, oh god, what is he making me watch? But then as I watched it, like, because it doesn't have... It's not self-aware, so it doesn't have its own humor in. So then, because it's so serious, there's just ridiculous moments that come through, and then that makes it hilarious.
Yeah.
So it becomes so bad, it is actually kind of good. I did actually end up enjoying it. I wouldn't watch it again.
No.
But I did kind of enjoy it.
Honestly, like, for, like, you know, it is a bad movie. I knew picking it was going to be a bad movie. I didn't really, like, hate it. I think part of it was because I technically have seen it before. This episode was featured in Mystery Science Theater. It was one of the newer episodes, in fact. And I watched that episode, and I enjoyed that. That was a good episode, in my opinion. And so...
See, I haven't seen it. I knew it was in it. I knew it was in Mystery Science Theater, but I haven't actually seen that.
Yeah, so I was kind of familiar with the plot in the movie already. But still, watching it by itself, it's like... It's still pretty ridiculous. Like, there are a bunch of moments that we could talk about in terms of just, like, ridiculousness. Mainly with the wheelchair kid. The main character is in a wheelchair.
So obviously not an actor who is disabled.
Well, actually, I would rephrase. I would stop you there, because actually, the actor he actually is in a wheelchair. That was...
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so
I thought that was fake. Okay.
No, he actually was wheelchair bound. That's one of the things. I would say that was one of the few things the movie got right, was that they actually cast someone who was in a wheelchair as a wheelchair kid.
But not necessarily, because he can't fucking act.
Well, yeah, okay, that's fair.
Don't cast. It doesn't matter. Like, if you're casting people who can't act, it doesn't matter whether they're abled or whatever.
And maybe Macamee isn't, like, the best, like, wheelchair representation to have. Like, you know, like this. It's kind of sad where Macamee's, like, one of the biggest representations of wheelchair people. Like, it's not great. It's not, like... Especially when you have him, like, chucking the wheelchair kid down a waterfall. And,
I forgot. He's, like, attached to the wheelchair the whole time, and then this weird alien just pops out the water and pushes him out.
Yeah, it's...
And nobody else sees it.
Yeah, nobody else except, you know, the little girl. And, like, that's the thing, though. That's another thing about this movie, is that Paul Rudd, you know, the actor... Like, whenever he's interviewed on Conan, and he has, like, these big movie roles, so he always shows clips of the movie, but and he does this little prank where instead of showing clips from the movie, he always shows that scene from Macamee where the kid goes off the wheelchair and then the alien pops up. He always shows that scene instead of the movie he's supposed to promote. Like, that's another thing this movie is known for.
Yeah, I read about that somewhere. I don't know. So I did a little bit of research after this, because I was generally interested to see, like, how it was funded and things like that.
Well, you know how it was
funded by... No, it's not actually funded by McDonald's. It's the distribution company that funded it. So actually, McDonald's are a huge, like, part of the film, right? With the whole dance thing and Ronald McDonald and this sort of thing.
Ronald McDonald literally shows up in the movie.
They didn't actually fund the film. It was, I don't know, it was like GCG or something, which is like the distribution company that delivered all the food to the McDonald's.
But that raises question. So they got the funds from McDonald's, from them, or because if I don't feel like no other reason would be like for making this movie other than McDonald's and Coke gave us money to make a giant commercial. So that's not the case, I guess.
No, I think there is a reason for it. I mean, you cited E.T., right?
Yeah.
Like E.T. came out 6 years prior, because that's 82.
I think so. I'm not.
You might have to fact check me on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's 82. Everyone loved that film. It was a huge blockbuster. But then you've also got like Star Wars, which is a big blockbuster. Bear in mind the alien language is very much R2D2.
Yeah, whistling.
The whistles and
it's
stuff.
like whistling.
You've also got Back to the Future. If you listen to the score of the film, like it's just it's the Back to the Future soundtrack. That's what it is. So like there's a lot of different reasons. It's just basically MGM saying, let's just make a summer blockbuster, and these are all the things that have done well in the past. Let's just do that because it worked last time and they got loads of money, so we want the money. So that's kind of the thing behind it. And then they got these companies involved, and probably the pitch to the companies was saying, look at these movies that have done really well. If you pay us, we'll put your brands in the film for you, and it's going to hit well, just like all the others, because we can predict the future, and it's not going to be shit.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big movie, and it's even gonna have a sequel, which they're like, we'll be back at the end, which obviously
And it never did.
Nope, no Mac and Me Too, unfortunately, or maybe probably fortunately.
Probably fortunate, I think.
Yeah. But that's not the only. We were talking about the wheelchair scene, which is ridiculous. So like.
The thing is, there's multiple ridiculous wheelchair scenes, because you've got not just the one that goes into the water, but when he's running away from cops, and conveniently, I meant that as a figure of speech.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Like he's wheeling away from the cops. That doesn't quite work. So
yeah, there's a wheelchair chase scene but the cops are running on like they're having a foot race with the wheelchair.
Yeah.
I think he goes through a fence, like he straight up just like
he does. But I was expecting for him to get to a point where in the middle of the road there would be cops on the other side, and then all of a sudden the alien gives him magical powers and he flies over the top.
But that might have been too blatant. Like if running away from cops and then flying away, yeah, that might have been a little too on the nose for the E.T. ripoff. The alien powers are so weird in this movie, because like they're like they have electricity powers.
Yeah.
That's established. Like they can mess with electricity. That's really it for the most.
They're also psychic.
Oh yeah.
They can talk over like long distance.
They can talk with each other. Yeah, they can do the.
Yeah.
I was trying to whistle, but it was like the.
Yeah.
Yeah, they hold their hands up like a cult, and then they whistle, and they can communicate. So they have those powers, and that's pretty much it. But then
and they can drink Coca-Cola without like losing their teeth. Actually, do they have teeth?
I don't even know if they have teeth. They just have those weird circle mouths, and that's it. And
those circle mouths. So like. You go to McDonald's and you see this big advert, and like all of a sudden there's this alien. It's like, it's so good, the aliens like it, and then you see the face of someone with a circle mouth holding over a Big Mac. Ooh, that's not.
I mean, that's basically it's literally a commercial. That's basically a McDonald's commercial. That's literally what it is. I was gonna say at the beginning of the movie, someone described the main alien, which is Mac. Mysterious alien creature. But also McDonald's. In the very beginning of the movie, there was this like random kid and father who get arrested, I think, for like running over Mac, and they describe it as an omelet with eyes.
An omelet with eyes,
which is like that's pretty.
I thought they were gonna. I generally thought that they were gonna play into that line, because that's such a distinctive line, and then they never reference it again. They kind of missed an opportunity there.
I noticed that. Nobody else really reacts to the horror that is these aliens. Like they notice them, but they're not like screaming or anything. Like their reactions are mundane, given that these are like butt ugly ass aliens. Like they are disturbing. They are gross looking. They look like naked, wrinkly people without genitalia, basically. And it's like particularly one scene like late in the movie where like they're parking at a parking lot. And this lady, like, drives up to them, sees the aliens, and is like, oh, hey, how's it going? And it's only when the alien, like, reaches out their disgusting, gross, long hands to grab her Coke, or it might have been another soda, but I'm pretty sure it's a Coke. But and then she screams.
No, it was Sprite. It's Sprite, but that's owned by Coca-Cola.
Yeah. And only then does she scream in horror, like, as if everything else before was like, okay, she just a regular alien creature, you know?
Just before the police arrive, and then all of a sudden the alien has a gun, and it's like just waving it around.
Well, he grabbed it from the cop, I think, at some point.
Well, yeah, the security guard, but I mean, it's kind of a little bit weird if you think about it.
The ending
Super
is
weird.
The ending is so weird because it suddenly turns into like an intense like shootout moment. Like
Action.
all the cops are coming in on these aliens, and like the teenage boy is like, don't hurt them. They're harmless. And that's another thing I might get into. But like everyone just assumes these aliens are harmless, even though we don't have any.
Nobody.
There's no, and like someone even brought, I think the little girl brings up like they might have diseases, and it's like, no, they like. How the fuck would you know? Like, these are aliens from a different fucking planet. They have a different biology. Why wouldn't they have diseases?
Maybe that's what the second film was supposed to be. It was going to be like a War of the World-esque thing.
It was going to be Contagion.
With, like, really, really crappy aliens that have just passed on their diseases to us instead of the other way around.
It would have been like Contagion. Like, this is a virus.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't make those jokes, but it's ridiculous. I will say, to give the movie credit, it's not boring bad. It's a fun bad, where, like, you can point out how ridiculous the movie is, but it's not, like, painful, I would say, to watch, I would say. I mean, besides looking at the ugly aliens, which you never get used to them, I think. You don't really, like, get used to how gross they are. Particularly the father figure of the group. Like, the way he walks around is just disturbing. He's like this wrinkly old man just walking around, and the way he moves is just so uncomfortable. It's just
because neither of the other aliens walk like that either, so why is he walking like that?
It's so bizarre. Like, back to the ending though. I think the ending it's just a different tone from the rest of the movie, because everything else was kind of like lighthearted and like goofy, and you got Alan Silvestri's score that's all like whimsical, ba 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 ba, you know, like
dun,
that kind of thing.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I know.
He's done better work, definitely, and it's. I feel like the music here is like too whimsical for this kind of movie. Like, I know it's supposed to be like a children's movie, but like it's not that whimsical. Like what's going on, you know? But then at the very end, it just becomes like this like insane like shootout, this like tense shootout, and then the kid dies.
The kid dies, yeah.
It's just I don't know.
How does he even die? Like, does he get? Is it just like the impact of the explosion? Because he wasn't that close to the explosion.
Actually,
or did he get shot by the police?
There's actually an explanation for that. There was a cut scene from this movie. I think that only aired. The scene only appears in like the Japanese versions of the film, but like he actually got shot. Like there was a scene where he got shot by the cops. Like they actually shot him, but they cut that from like the official release, basically.
Right. That makes more sense.
I mean, they were shooting at him, and like,
yeah,
it doesn't make sense in the movie, but yeah, but it doesn't matter because he fucking dies, and then these aliens, which have never established they could do this, suddenly get into like this prayer circle.
Bring him back to life.
Yeah, they got Jesus powers they could just bring people, which the movie doesn't make a big deal.
Earlier it took Coke to save them, but now they can just bring people back to life.
And like it's like they don't make a big deal out of the fact they can literally resurrect the fucking dead. Like that's kind of a big thing. But they immediately just like, oh, now they're U.S. citizens, and that's the movie.
And they drive off in a pink Cadillac into the sunset, and they all live happily ever after until the next time.
Yeah, the next time when we get to not see them in any more movies. Thank God. But
the thing is, like, the 80s was definitely a time for, like, B-horror movies kind of thing that were, like, so bad that they were actually really good. So Killer Clowns from Outer Space is one that I have always held down as something that I thoroughly enjoy because it's just ridiculous. Like the whole, it's pretty much just goofy like this. I don't know. I did actually enjoy this. I wouldn't say that it was a good film.
No,
but
of course
I enjoyed it, and I think that's what you need for in like any sort of film is.
Yeah, to enjoy it basically. And and you know what? Like, it's just fun to point out like all the ridiculousness in this movie, and also going back to that citizenship scene. of course, Mac is wearing the aliens appear in clothes. And they look freakier in they look freakier in human clothes than they do naked. It's like,
and the mom's wearing like earrings and stuff.
Yeah.
And like until the film told me that the elder child was actually a girl, I wouldn't have known.
Yeah,
that.
they don't. It's not. There's no obvious like features. Thank God, because that'd be weird if they had like breasts. But like, but still, like you just have to infer that it's the sister.
I thought it was an older brother, honestly.
I mean,
actually, I didn't really classify them as gendered, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess there has to be, because there's two parents, but yeah.
It's the 80s. They're not really going over non-binary stuff, but it's a very nuclear alien family kind of thing. I was going to say that Mac's wearing a McKids shirt, because of course he is. Like, you just got to get that last bit of, like, McDonald's
last little bit of
money.
McDonald's reference.
Gotta get that Big Mac, gotta get that Coca-Cola, just get corporate
Why don't
synergy.
you stop by for a Big Mac, says the little child as she's walking out of the room.
Yeah, I was gonna point that out.
The very next scene is, do you know what I fancy? A Big Mac! Do you know the really annoying thing after this? I did, for dinner tonight, I have actually gone to McDonald's.
So it worked. That corporate.
It worked, and I've got a can of Coke right here.
Oh wow!
I don't know if you can hear that.
Yeah. Yep. Now you can feed those.
Does it actually work?
You can save the little Mac aliens from dying. But I was gonna say, yeah. Obviously, McDonald's and Coca-Cola are plastered throughout. Like the sisters. The best friend character who I almost forgot to mention the best friend who is a little girl. She is introduced wearing Native American garb, which is that is like
so weird.
It's a bizarre choice to have like cultural appropriation and like it comes, and she never wears it again after that. Like after her introduction, like she doesn't wear it again. It's just this little like quirky thing where she dresses up as Native Americans for no reason, really. No,
it's just like randomly there. They don't explain why she's doing it.
She's in a teepee.
Halloween.
She's just it's cringe. It's a cringy moment. But I was gonna say like the best friend's sister, the little boy's the main character's brother,
the one who conveniently works at McDonald's, isn't it?
Yeah. She wears a shirt and there's a little M on it, and it's like, of course she works at McDonald's, and it's
well that's the classic uniform as well, isn't it? So
yeah.
I think I remember from like adverts and stuff like that was the classic uniform. It's not like that anymore. I think it's like black and gold now.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but yeah, I can that does look like an actual uniform that they would wear at McDonald's.
Yep. But that's literally her costume for the entire film.
Yeah, she never changes.
I think she was in a dressing gown in one of the scenes, and that was it.
Yeah, but for most of the movie, she's in the McDonald's employee uniform because she works at McDonald's and they have a little McDonald's party.
So, did you know that this film was nominated for a bunch of Golden Raspberries? And
that does not surprise me.
Yeah, it won 2. So, worst director, it got that one.
Okay.
And worst new star. Do you know who got that?
The wheelchair kid?
Nope. Ronald McDonald. I'm not kidding. I'm seriously not kidding. Movie. Ronald McDonald won a Golden Raspberry for the new worst star. It's bad.
That whole moment in the McDonald's, because of course they had to go to McDonald's because it's they're building up to this big party.
Yeah, why were they going to McDonald's again? Because there was a party. I thought.
It was a birthday party.
He was waiting to go to school. I thought they were taking them to go to school.
No, they never go to school because they never go to school in these types of movies.
No,
but I think it was the best friend's birthday party. So the best friend had a friend who had a birthday party in McDonald's, and there's these dancing people who are just, and there's this dance number. First of all, when we see them, it's just like these random people breakdancing outside of McDonald's, because of course that's what people did.
Takes over the whole of McDonald's.
Yeah, that's what people do at McDonald's. They breakdance at the parking lot.
You do in the 1980s.
Yeah, that's again comes straight out of a freaking commercial. But then at the birthday party, there's Well, first of all, Mac is in this hideous teddy bear costume to disguise himself, even though he's moving a lot. You think, oh, he's very obviously some creature in a teddy bear suit, but he's like, oh, it's animatronics. It's a very advanced teddy bear. But anyway, and then straight up, Teddy Bear Mac is dancing, and everyone's like, "Cool, a giant teddy bear is dancing. Let's dance." And then there's just this giant, like '80s dance number, and it's ridiculous. And and he flies, and nobody questions the flying teddy bear.
Yeah, exactly. And this was why I genuinely thought that they were going to do like the flying ET thing over the people, because he can fly.
Yeah.
Whereas E.T. could never fly, right?
Well, no, didn't he make the bike fly in the movie?
Yeah. He made the bike fly with his telekinetic powers, and it was shown throughout the film that he had the telekinetic powers. Yeah. So that was fair enough. But like, this movie's not that smart.
No,
right?
No. And they could also have the aliens pull Lazarus and just bring people back from the dead at the last second.
Yeah.
Okay. One more thing. Like, here's a scene that I don't think makes any sense. So, they just moved in, and the mother and the family, they just moved into this new neighborhood, and Mac is just like looking at this place, and this is the first time he's seen anything human like, because he's an alien that got sucked up through a thing, which looks ridiculous. But the next day, somehow, Mac was able to transform the entire house into, like, this wilderness, and, like, that I never got that, because, like, how was he able to fucking do that? First of all, he got a bunch of, like, animals, I don't know where he got those from, and then he transformed the entire house into, like, this wilderness thing in a night, basically.
Did he go out and bring grass in? I don't...
Yeah, that just never made sense to me.
It was so random, right? And he's just, like, poking holes with the power drill.
Oh, that moment.
Like,
I was gonna say, like, that moment where, like, the drill pops out, and then I think the little kid looks through the eye hole of it, or something like that. Yeah. I was expecting for a moment, like, the drill to just come through and poke him in the eye. It's a gruesome...
Right in the eye.
That's a gruesome image, but it's not any more gruesome than any of the shit that's happened to him in the movie. Like, he's dead, he falls off they put that guy, they put the wheelchair kid through a lot of stunts, honestly.
I'm pretty sure he didn't do any of those stunts.
No. I mean...
I think it was one of the car chase scenes where it's quite clear that it's a grown adult in a wheelchair.
True. But, like, the kid character in the movie, he goes through a lot of shit, though. To be fair, he falls off a cliff. He goes through a fence. He gets shot off screen, but he's dead. It's a lot, man.
Yeah, he dies.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for our discussion of Mac and Me. However, before we end this video, I wanted to introduce something that's mainly for me, just because I wanted to... Every bad movie is bad in its own unique way, but I wanted to kind of rank them in an interesting way. So basically, I have a scoring system with this podcast, where every bad movie comes with a little 1 to 5 rating, basically. It's unique because, rating a movie 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars kind of thing, except this is bad movies, so I'm rating them on how bad they are.
Right, so is 5 is really bad, and 1 is like...
Let me go through my rankings, because I'm very specific with these. So 1 star is not a bad movie. I just straight up, I don't think this is a bad movie. That's where it goes. 2 is it's so bad it's good. So this is a bad movie, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it. It's an enjoyably bad movie. 3 is just a bad movie. So I didn't hate it, but I didn't enjoy it either. It's just kind of a bad movie. 4 is I hate this. So obviously for the movies that I, really starting to hate, And then 5 is one of the worst movies I've ever seen, which I think is pretty self-explanatory. So
across the universe.
we're never talking about it. I was gonna say, like, do you want to do that for the podcast? Or you're like, no,
no,
never again. But yeah, so
for me, this was a 2 then on that ranking system. That was a 2.
I'm definitely going 2. It's so bad it's good. Like, it's enjoyably bad. I'll say, because it's a giant commercial. I had a lot of fun. It was a fun movie. You're never gonna watch this again. I'm probably never gonna watch this.
I'm never gonna watch it.
I might watch the Mystery Science Theater episode because it's a good episode. I would recommend that one. But outside of that, it's not really worth watching the full movie again. One time maybe.
It's too long. It's an hour and 40 minutes. That's too long. Like, there are bits that they could cut.
I think it's good for, like, if you're having, like, a bad movie night and you have a bunch of friends. And it's a great riffing movie, I think. It's a great movie to watch and make fun of while you're watching it. But outside of that, yeah, it's so bad it's good. But it's still a bad movie. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much any last thoughts on Mac and Me?
Chicago Bears were also in the film.
Oh yeah, he's from Chicago, Illinois. He was.
Yeah, did they ever establish that, or was he just wearing Chicago Bears attire, and that's just another sponsor?
No, they established he was from Chicago. They moved from Chicago, and then his dad.
That's a long drive.
Yeah, and his dad might be dead or divorced. They never really say whether or not, but he's not in the picture. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That is Mac and Me. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Roy Johnson signing out. I hope you enjoyed this Roy Watches a Bad Movie. Roy and Friends Watch a Bad Movie, because Womble's also here. And yeah, let's get this first episode out of the way. And adios, muchachos.